Hi, my name is Ashley Share. I'm the founder and CEO of ShareLove.Fund. We are exploring Book 2, Sutra 40, so 2.40 of the Sutras of Patanjali. This sutra in English reads as follows. By purification arises disgust for one's own body and for contact with other bodies. So let's explore this. On a microscopic level, we know with modern science that we're covered in germs. There's little bugs that live in our eyelids, our tongue is filthy, and we're constantly eating and excreting waste, and our waste is actually foul and toxic, and if that waste were to enter our food, we'd get very sick and we could get dysentery, and people even die from waste contamination. So we are sort of filthy as beings, and it takes constant purification. We're constantly washing our hair. A lot of ladies are exfoliating their faces. Even men, as they shave, they're exfoliating. I mean, we're just like taking off dead skin cells, removing dirt from our pores, eating, digesting, excreting waste. So when you think of the human body as sort of in motion, a cycle of eating, nourishing, but creating waste and needing to clean itself. So when you think of it as sort of like a working warehouse, you know, that gets dirty and needs to get clean, and when you think of other bodies like that too, then we can explore the idea that connecting two bodies can be a little filthy and dirty, and that constant purification is needed. So let's explore this a little deeper. When purity is observed, it makes you feel that even your body is impure. So sometimes we think of this as the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know. Sometimes the pure you get, the more health conscious of what you eat, the deeper you go into cleanliness, the more you notice all the dirty things about you. So like the more you focus on, let's say, not eating sugar and gluten, the more you notice all the things that sugar and gluten are in, like sugars and ketchup or something like that. So sometimes, when you take the time to do, let's say, a face mask, then you start to notice all the blackheads on your nose, for example. So sometimes the deeper we go into purity, the more we notice that we're impure. Every minute there are secretions. Impurities are eliminated every second. The breath pours out carbon dioxide, which is actually a poisonous gas. That's why you can't have your car running while you're present in the garage. The skin discharges perspiration. If you really think about it, it seems to be a very dirty place where we live. No matter how much perfume we put on, it only hides the dirt, the smell, the stench. If our perspiration is foul, we spray on some deodorant, we cover that dirt, that stench. We dab a little powder on it to hide it. Every time we cover the dirt, it comes back. We realize this. We develop an indifference towards the body. Not that we want to neglect it, but we no longer adore it. So as we seek purification and cleanliness, we start to realize that our body is just a vehicle. It's the vehicle we have on earth now, and we'll take care of it so that we can do the work that we need to do in our lifetime. But this ideology of the human body, it starts to kind of go out the window when you start to really take a deep dive into cleanliness, because you realize that body is constantly needing to be clean, and it's never actually totally pure. If our skin looks dirty, we dab a little powder on it to hide it. Every time we cover the dirt, it comes back. The time we once spent on our bodies can be used for other purposes, like meditating or reading, exercising, developing a yoga practice, community service, spending time with your family, anything that drives you. But this obsession with our bodies, we realize as we take a deep dive into cleanliness that it's a dead end, that our bodies are just a vehicle for us to use at the moment. When we feel our bodies are an embodiment of dirt, how can we be attracted to other bodies? These attractions will also get reduced and will certainly save us a great deal of trouble. We see that all these physical attractions are superficial, that it's really kind of dirty, and that there are deeper ways to enjoy cleanliness, that the body will never actually be 100% clean. Like if we were totally sterile, we would die. We're constantly breeding bacteria, and we're a host to a whole bunch of things. When we spend time on deeper things in the body and eventually go into spiritual matters, realizing that we are the true self and not the body at all, we will not be interested in bringing two bodies together anymore. We will just think of the process as two cloths rubbing together, because there's no difference between a body and a cloth. One is skin shirt and the other is cotton shirt. The real union is not the union between two bodies. What it is, we call masculine and feminine bodies. They are different shapes of flesh. By putting two lumps of flesh together, in yogic thought, it's thought to obtain nirvana. But nirvana is not really the lumping and clumping of flesh. There's a spiritual element. Spiritual union does not necessarily mean physical union. And one example of this is in modern day, when we read letters from Ukrainians and Russians separated, because many are cousins and family members dealing with the war. When we read of other wartime letters with the husband off at war, you can see that there's so much love there, there's so much union there, and there is so many miles in distance apart, but they can share love in a letter without bodies, and that's the union, that's the nirvana. There are positive and negative forces within each individual. In Hatha Yoga, they call it sun and moon. Ha means sun and Tha means moon. The inner sun can be thought of as your solar plex. Sorry, I'm gonna just The moon can be thought of as the base of the spine. In order to become united, this comes together. The energy flows down and is returned to its source. The heat produced by meditation goes up and affects certain psychic glands to start producing nectar juices, is the yogic thought. You can think your own thoughts. We advocate critical thinking at ShareLove.Fund. This flows from the base of the spine through the nerves, building them up, making them more alive and helping to feel almost immortal. The Sanskrit term for nectar means immortal. Your body becomes filled with light, and it's converted into the yogic body, as the yogic philosophy says. Whether this is true or not, that is for your own critical thinking. We study philosophy as a means to stimulate critical thinking, not as a means to brainwash or impose any beliefs. This is an academic approach to yoga, just like in school we read Greek mythology and Roman mythology, and the teachers are not trying to get you to pray to Aphrodite, but it's just to understand that this is a text that has survived thousands of years, and it's interesting to extrapolate and apply the ancient text to modern times and make conclusions about whether it's relevant and how it's relevant and so forth. I offer opinions and guidance in critical thinking, but by no means am I advocating a particular view. This is where the term offering your nectar to the altar comes from. Of course, those people interested in drinking will offer a bottle of whiskey at the altar and then take it back to drink. The mind can really deceive us. So when we're thinking about purity, we also want to think about toxins and the absence of toxins. We should be sure of the esoteric meaning in the scriptures. If we only take the surface meaning, we might be misled. For example, the concept of offering the fruits to the altar. Who wants those fruits? Do you think God is going to eat them? It means offering the fruits of our actions to God. We are trees growing in nature, and all of our energy, all of our actions, our thoughts, our words are the fruit. The fruits of our lives, which we must offer for the benefit of humanity in the name of God. This is where the term forbidden fruit comes from in the Bible. Each one of us has a little bit of Adam, so to speak. This is just an idea you can explore or accept or reject, or anything in between. And each one of us has a little bit of an Eve. You can also think of this as yin and yang, because we try to eat the fruits of our actions, which are forbidden to do. The biblical story doesn't mean that Adam once lived and ate the forbidden fruit that we are reaping his sin. We're doing the same thing here and now. Every scripture has its own esoteric meaning and story form. This is because in ancient times, they didn't want everyone to understand all the subtle techniques and follow them without proper preparation. That is an opinion in yogic thought. I'm not sure if I personally believe that. And you can explore it. The other really cool thing about the sutras, as you explore them, at different points in your life, you may come to understand each sutra a little bit differently, and bring to the table your own life experiences. So what we come to believe a sutra means today may be different tomorrow. And for each person, it may be different as they go on their journey. In ancient Indian medical science, known as RYT, And you should check out our Broadening Our Horizons book. What can modern food science learn from historical nutritional practices? And it covers Ayurveda, and our high school leaders wrote it, so that's pretty awesome. You can check it out on Amazon, 5-star review, to learn more about Ayurveda. That's my fundraising plug. So that has a vested interest because it's a little self-promotion. So just know, full disclosure, that was a self-promotion for ShareLove.Fund to earn money to fund its programming. But in the Indian medical science of Ayurveda, for example, there is a method used for rejuvenation of the entire body. If its technique were known, many people who would wish to rejuvenate their bodies would just enjoy the world rather than to use that rejuvenation selflessly. So it is explained with code words which are not easily understood by anyone. That's the yogic philosophy of why it's so hard to get into these deep levels of contemplation. Another example is a powerful herb, and this powerful drug could be misused in the wrong hands. A person might just go off and try to collect these herbs or medicines, and if they are ignorant, instead of using their rejuvenation and insight to save people, they might use that enhanced capability to hurt themselves and others. But once we have purity of mind, no doubt someone will come to tell us what the true meaning of these things are and what it is to be done. When the disciple is ready, the guru comes. I'm just going to pause on that. My yoga teacher, Justin Tang, told me as I was trying to grow ShareLove.Fund at record speed, he told me you can't grow an oak tree any faster by wishing it. Sometimes we have to prepare ourselves and be patient and wait. And when the timing is right, the opportunity comes. When I was trying to grow ShareLove.Fund very fast, I was frustrated by a lack of funding. When I slowed down and started really thinking about my actions deliberately, I had donors come out of the woodwork. If they came sooner, I think that the money would have been spent on maybe programs that were less impactful than the programs we have now that are derivatives of slowing down and really taking time to think about how we can maximize our dollar for dollar impact. So how we interpret this, when the disciple's ready, the guru comes, how we interpret that is up to you, and I advocate your own critical thinking. But sometimes, so it could be a person comes and tells you masterful yogic language, or it could be that in the case that I gave, when I really got my stuff together and I slowed down and had a solid plan, then the donations came. So you can think about it in different ways, but sometimes when we are spinning our wheels, frustrated that the world is not responding how we want, maybe the answer could be to slow down and get yourself together. And when you get yourself together, the things that you're seeking come your way. So you can explore that on your own and decide if that's true or not true, or to what extent, but that's something that I personally have found to be true. When the receiver is well tuned, the music comes. We need not send out invitations. All that is necessary is for us to tune ourselves. Then, without even a second's delay, the guru will come in some form. If we are not ready, though, even with 100 gurus around, we won't be benefited. For a guru can't force us into anything. We must be ready. we must be ready to receive. Similarly, the music is within the radio, but the radio cannot force the speaker to vibrate and bring it out. This is why preparation, developing virtues like yama and niyama, abstinence and observance. Yama is abstinence and niyama is observance. Developing virtues like yama, abstinence, and niyama, observance. That's from the 8 limbs of yoga. Developing those virtues is very important. Thank you for your time. Namaste. Sorry, little technical difficulty.